This is your 420 Radio News for Tuesday, March 25th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Medical marijuana eases some multiple sclerosis symptoms, neurologists report from the Los Angeles Times. There is strong evidence that medical marijuana pills may reduce symptoms of spasticity and pain reported by multiple sclerosis patients, but little proof that smoking pot offers the same benefit, according to new alternative treatment guidelines released by the American Academy of Neurology. Quote, "The reason there's no evidence on inhaled cannabis is because it's very difficult to study," said Dr. Donald Abrams, a professor of clinical medicine at the University of California, San Francisco, and a marijuana researcher who was not involved with the study. "The government really restricts the studies on this plant," end quote. Basically, there is little evidence for the effectiveness of most alternative therapies that people use, said Dr. Vijayashree Yadav, a lead author of the guidelines and an associate professor of neurology at the Oregon Health and Sciences University. Patient surveys suggest that up to 80% of MS patients employ some form of alternative treatment, including the smoking of street marijuana. Yadav have said that very few high-quality studies have examined the effectiveness of these treatments, and there is simply too little evidence to support or refute their effectiveness. Quote, "There really is a need for more research," end quote. Medical marijuana bill moves to the South Carolina Senate floor from HeraldOnline.com. A bill that would allow children with severe epilepsy to obtain an oil extracted from marijuana to help control their seizures has moved to the floor for helping the child who inspired it. On Thursday, the Senate Medical Affairs Committee approved the bill, which would allow doctors to administer cannabidiol to patients with intractable epilepsy, but with one major revision. The CBD oil administered must be approved first by the Food and Drug Administration and be part of clinical trials. If passed in its current form, the restrictions placed in the revised bill would prohibit 6-year-old Mount Pleasant resident Mary Louise Swing, whose illness prompted the bill's introduction, from receiving CBD oil in South Carolina. Davis said the change was made at the committee level because of concerns raised by the South Carolina Medical Association and the State Law Enforcement Division about the quality and purity of CBD oil. Veterans with PTSD may now use medical marijuana in Michigan, from WZZM13.com. Last week, the Michigan Medical Marijuana Review Board added post-traumatic stress syndrome to the list of conditions that qualify for medical marijuana. This means PTSD sufferers have another treatment option, but with marijuana still illegal on the federal level, this poses a unique challenge for Michigan veterans with VA benefits who want to try medical marijuana. An estimated 1 in 5 veterans coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan suffer some kind of post-traumatic stress syndrome, according to Carrie Roy, the director of Kent County Veterans Affairs. VA doctors are not going to start prescribing medical marijuana because it is still federally against the law, explains Roy. This means a veteran wishing for the alternative treatment will need to go to a private doctor. The worry for some is that this may put their VA benefits in danger. Marijuana ballot initiatives may motivate voters, from USA Today. The latest George Washington University battleground poll reveals that nearly 4 in 10 respondents say they would be much more likely to vote if marijuana legalization issues were on the ballot. An additional 30% say such ballot initiatives would make them somewhat more likely to vote. The numbers are encouraging to Democratic pollster Celinda Lake, who conducted the survey with GOP pollster Ed Goes, because Democrats historically have a tougher time than Republicans in turning out voters in non-presidential election years. Support for legalizing medical marijuana use has grown steadily, with 73% in favor, while a majority, 53%, also back decriminalizing marijuana possession, according to the survey. Lake said, quote, "What's really interesting, and I think a totally unwritten story, is that everyone talks about marriage equality hitting a tipping point of acceptance. Marijuana is hitting the tipping point. It's really astounding about how fast it's moved." Dayton says his pot study plan lacks broad support, from KansasCity.com. Governor Mark Dayton of Minnesota lowered expectations Tuesday for a study on one type of medical marijuana, saying prospects stand between slim and none because advocates for broader legalization don't appear interested. Dayton told WCCO-AM that his proposal that surfaced late last week to spend more than $2 million just to research a non-combustible lacks support. Representative Carly Mellon told the Associated Press she offered to include a study in her wide-reaching medical marijuana legislation, but she declined to sponsor it as the measure. This has been your 420 Radio News for Tuesday, March 25th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. When we come back, we'll go behind the headlines here in Georgia and take a look at the statements by the governor on needing a fix for medical marijuana and the suggestions of Peachtree Normal on what that fix should be. On 420radio.org. We'll be right back.